All right, there we are. Good morning. All this bull stuff out on my way. Hey. Let's see something. Okay. All right, there we go. Let me get my browser pulled up. Start checking out the morning's news here. Oh, yeah. Go. Mm-hmm. Right one. Okay, oops. Sorry, hold on. Almost there. There we are. Fortunately, the share is busted. We gotta reset it. Mucho better. All right, we are off to the races here. Let's see what we got. I don't know if I tagged anything since I saw you last evening, but let's see. Oh yeah, a few things. Yep. Scott Besson getting harassed in DC. Disgusting. Look at this.
Make an announcement. We have a special guest here, and we want to make a toast to the Secretary of Treasury, Scott Besson.
Just trying to chill out and have a drink
So
in a nice, cozy bar.
let's give it up for the man who is eating in peace as people starve across the world based on his sanctions, which are economic warfare.
He says he's booing. He goes, boo! Did you see it?
Of course. On his sanctions, which are economic warfare.
Boo!
Of course you're gonna boo this. It's the truth.
He oversees the death of 600,000 people due to sanctions annually. And this president, let's cheer to the Monroe Doctrine. Trump today
Oh, please.
said the Venezuelan oil.
And you have no idea how ignorant you are.
Ignorant, you are.
Oh, he actually shot back at her. Good for him.
The Monroe Doctrine. Trump today said the Venezuelan oil.
You are ignorant, and you have no idea how ignorant you are.
And you have no idea how
Oil.
Yes, that is indeed the nature of ignorance.
you are.
Ignorant, you are responsible for the death of 600,000 people annually because of sanctions. How many people are going to die because of the blood is on your hands?
The blood is on your hands. You should be ashamed.
Should not be able to eat in peace.
People are insane.
So we're here at a restaurant in Washington, D.C. right before Trump is about to announce the accomplishments of this administration and what's to come. The Secretary of Treasury, Scott Besson, was here in this fancy restaurant as...
Was. So I guess they didn't ask this hoe to leave. They just let Scott Besson get harassed and to the point where he had to just leave and walk out, rather than asking this wacko to leave.
He oversees the very policies
That's DC for you.
that allow for children across the world to starve to death, and over 600,000 people a year die because of economic sanctions. So all of these war criminals that live amongst us, we need to be using our voice and confronting them because the blood of so many people across the globe is on their hands. So now the secretary
No, it is not.
just left.
That is absurd.
He was so uncomfortable that he was confronted, and he just walked out of the restaurant.
I was sitting right here next to Scott Bassett over there. When he found out that you guys would not get kicked out, he spit in his food, stood up, looked at the waiter, and sauntered off like a real housewife. That queen, drama queen, over him.
Wait, he's the drama queen? Not you.
Spit in his food. That's our French secretary. Are you kidding me? It's so embarrassing, guys.
They're lucky he didn't spit anywhere else. Because if I was him, I would have spit in their dang face. What kind of garbage asshole restaurant lets this go on?
Right here next to Scott Bassett over there.
Not Besant.
When he found out that you guys would not get kicked out, he spit in his food, stood up, looked at the waiter, and sauntered off like a real housewife.
I hope these people get will get their comeuppance. We'll just put it that way. Glenn Beck apparently out at the Blaze. Moving on to some new project called The Torch. The Blaze, The Torch. Bit weird.
Let me premiere tonight our first preview of what you will see at glennbeck.com and a Torch, what I will be producing next year starting January 5th. Watch.
So, wait. You're leaving the Blaze to start making AI slop? Seriously? Seriously? Why would a boy in the mid 19th century, before automobiles or seatbelts of any kind had ever been invented, use the word buckle up? Why would that? Fucking hate AI. I mean, I don't. It's useful, but I more so hate the people that use it, just so lazily. This is slop. This is straight up slop.
Are you ready?
Coming soon on Torch, AI slop videos,
Forget the dates,
which you could watch anywhere else.
forget the names, forget all of it. What's the story?
We're not looking at civil war. We're looking at a feast.
Days of ass. Terrible AI slop videos.
Yes, I never take it, we're gonna have to say you
Is this what AI sounds when it sings? Is this?
just like the Queen of Soul, I'll say a little prayer.
Oh, okay. It's one of those people.
Now comes the sun.
What is it that you feel is the biggest problem or where we should start to fix things?
America's biggest problem isn't political or economic. It's moral.
Wait a second. Is he?
Should start
Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I'm sorry, but really, dude?
to fix
He's interviewing an AI George Washington? Ask George your questions.
things.
America's biggest problem isn't political or economic.
Nope.
It's moral.
They have no idea that in Lexington, a war against the most powerful empire on Earth has just begun. What do capital controls mean? They are the sound of a nation realizing the show is over.
Roger.
Now do the same, but for AI slop. What does AI slop mean?
Roger Love, man.
I'm so glad that we're meeting. He may have been America's first superhero.
Yeah, she's my muse.
And this is why I wanted to do this tutorial.
Join us.
No. Seriously, man? Like, oh god. I hope it's better than whatever that was. Because that was just lazy. Good lord. All right. Oh yeah, the Brown University thing. I guess they got a guy, or at least the guy got himself. He offed himself in a storage unit in New Hampshire.
And good evening. My name is Ted Dox, Special Agent in
He is a Portuguese green card holder, not a citizen, legal permanent resident.
charge of FBI Boston. We got him. Shortly before 9 o'clock tonight, the FBI SWAT team executed court-authorized search warrants at a storage unit facility in Hampshire Road in Salem, New Hampshire. This is where we located Claudio Neves Valente, the individual who we believe was responsible for the Brown. And good evening. My name is Ted Dox, Special Agent in charge of...
Here we go. Yeah. I haven't caught up on this since last night, so imagine there's probably more out there now. Curious to see what the fuck is going on with that whole thing, man. So, I guess the talk was, at least from what I remember when I was checking through this last night before I went to bed, I guess the guy, apparently the shooter, like, went to school with the MIT fusion professor when they were both living in Portugal. They went to some university together. I don't know if that's confirmed or what. Seen that last night. They're continuing to get eviscerated over the absurdity of the, you know, the removal of their cameras, you know, because they wanted to protect migrants and shit, basically. Disgusting.
Yeah. Dan. President Paxton, Dan Jay from NBC 10.
This biatch gets excoriated. Great.
When I first arrived on the scene, there were no cameras in this building. And law enforcement, some that are standing up behind you, have said if Brown had cameras in that part of the building, we would have gotten this guy. And it may have stopped this swirling action. Can you answer that question for me?
Well, I don't think we have said the locations of cameras at Brown. We have
there's no cameras in that building because why would they take it from a rental car agency?
We have 1,200 cameras at Brown.
But not in that building.
We have some in that building. It's a large complex. And I think what you would see is the video evidence in this case, from my perspective, I'm not a law enforcement agent, has been incredibly helpful. The moving of the person around the neighborhood, those video images, they help crack this case. So I think video was important. And as the Attorney General explained at a recent press conference, this individual...
My cat's addicted to bacon. It's down here begging for me to rip chunks of bacon off of my bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. It gets mad if I don't give it bacon.
Was not spending his time on the Brown campus. He came into a building on the edge of the campus, he left, he was in the neighborhoods, the investigation focused on the neighborhoods, the video was there, and that was really, really instrumental in cracking the case. But you can ask them.
And this is my follow-up, Madam President, you say the podium. Yes, video played a big role in this case. The neighbor's video, the rental car video, but not the video from the building that he walked in freely both before when he got in a confrontation and when he came back in and decided to kill people. You didn't have cameras in that building, just say it, so we can get this over it. And my next question is, will you put cameras in, will you put the cameras in the building?
Yeah.
There'll be more cameras in that building.
Yeah, you know, I think we need to look back, we'll look at everything that is done, but I do not think a lack of cameras in that building, it had anything to do with what happened there.
Are you shitting me?
And we will go forward. Thank you.
Tom.
Wow. What a statement. Apparently this is an interesting little tidbit here. According to CNN, apparently the same car was used in the Brown University shooting and the MIT professor shooting. But the license plate had been switched. The dude was smart enough, had enough foresight to be swapping his license, presumably stealing them from a car of the same make, model, color. At least that's how I'd do it if I were a crim. All right, let's see. To the bottom of the pile we go. There we go. First one in the morning. Oh, shite. Oh, shite. We lost it. There we go. Okay. Schedule for Friday for President Trump. 1 p.m. The president makes an announcement. I don't know. 5:45 p.m. out of town travel pool call time. 5:45. President participates in a Christmas reception. A lot of those of late, of course. And then 9 p.m. President delivers remarks on the economy at Rocky Mount Event Center in North Carolina. So good amount of activity today. Fair amount going on. Oh, okay, so further detail. Apparently he will be addressing the nation again with a massive announcement at 1 p.m. What the shit could that be? Wonder. Any guesses? Anyone have any guesses what this could be? It is the 19th. It does happen to be the deadline for the federal government to release the Epstein files. Interesting, right? Somehow I don't think it's related to that, but maybe it is. Freedom Fighter 1107 says Maduro surrenders today. Interesting guess. Very interesting guess. Okay, today a rally in Rocky Mount Event Center in North Carolina tonight at 6 p.m. Oh yeah, so it's going to be a rally. That's right. Sorry, I forgot about that. I read that late last night when I was drifting off. But yes, we're getting a campaign rally, guys. Back to rally time. We get rally. Get a rally. North Carolina, 6 p.m. Doors open. I don't know what time it's actually going to start. Presumably around like 8 or so. Ish. Usually a few hours after the doors open, I guess, right? Should be fun. Should be a good one. We're gonna have the major announcement at 1 p.m. and then a rally right after. A suspected shooter in the Brown University shooting was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Official channels.
Paul, stay with us for a moment. We have a Fox News alert. A high-placed source has just told Fox News that the suspected shooter was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Let's bring back in Paul Mara. Paul, obviously a huge development just broke while you were explaining beautifully what your opinion. So we know that the suspected shooter went into the facility. Those brave law enforcement officers followed him in there. We didn't know until this moment if he had even remained in there, gone in his unit, exited the building. But Paul, we're now told by a highly placed source that they have found the suspected shooter dead, apparently from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. What's your reaction?
Well, first of all, not an uncommon occurrence in these sort of situations, but, you know, this is unfortunately not going to be the end, because now you got to do all the investigation, and one of the things you really want to make sure of is that he is the only person you have to worry about.
Investigators believe the Brown University shooting suspect is the same person responsible for killing the MIT professor.
Have to admit the possibility here that just geographically, perpetrator here ends up in New Hampshire by going through Massachusetts. MIT is in that area, Massachusetts, and so he must have transferred through that area to get to New Hampshire. In fact, the reporting is that's when he tripped the LPR, going from Massachusetts to New Hampshire. So if that's the case, just by proximity, you got to say there's a nexus there. Here's another question, though, Kellyanne. If the ballistics could have connected the two, I can't imagine that that wasn't done with great rapidity, that they didn't say pull the ballistics, pull the shells that were found at the scene in the MIT homicide and the shells and the live rounds that were found here. Do they match? Because once you got that, then you know it's the same perpetrator. They mustn't have matched, because you can do that very quickly. Have to admit the possibility here that just geographically, perpetrator here ends up in New Hampshire by going through Massachusetts. MIT is in that area, Massachusetts, and so he must have transferred through that area to...
Oh, sorry, that just looped. All right. Providence journalist reports that the Brown University shooter suspect got into a fight with the second person that officials were looking for. What? Turns out the second person was a homeless former Brown University student who was living on campus? Where the fuck? What? Where?
Talked yesterday.
They just let homeless people live on campus?
About the second person. We saw pictures of the second person that was seen in the proximity of the suspect outside of Brown University. Apparently, the police have interviewed this person. What do you know?
Yeah, Jesse, thank you for having me on this evening. So from what I've heard from my law enforcement officials here this evening is that this person that turns out to be a man, we didn't know if the gender was a male or a woman, turns out to be a man, apparently made contact with the shooter 2 hours before the shooting itself happened. Apparently, according to what I'm hearing from my law enforcement sources here on the ground, is that this suspect, this shooting suspect, was casing out the area for nearly 2 weeks. And there was a confrontation with this person that has, according to my law enforcement officials, is being identified as a homeless person who was living in or around that Brown University building that we're all talking about at Barris and Holly, graduated from Brown University at 2010, had a confrontation with the shooter before the shooting itself happened. And when you look at that video that the FBI put out the other day from that home, that is allegedly what the shooter is running away from.
Wait. You're saying, Tom, that the second person was a homeless Brown graduate that was living at Brown in that building?
Yeah. According to my sources, that's what they're saying, yes.
Okay. So someone graduated from Brown and is now homeless, and Brown's letting them live in one of their buildings? Was it the same building that was shot up?
Yes, it was. And the details that I'm getting are very sparse at this time. You know, a lot of this information is coming in rapidly, fast. But according to the law enforcement sources that I talked to earlier today, this homeless person is considered to be a super genius, apparently. Graduated from Brown University in 2010. I don't know how he became homeless, but he's the person that we see in the picture that was released yesterday by police, and apparently came in contact with the shooter 2 hours before the shooting happened itself. And apparently the shooter was going to commit the act at the time, but after the confrontation, the shooter left and eventually ended up coming back.
Yeah, because there was some sort of, not a struggle, but there was running. Someone was running away. Was the suspect running away from the homeless Brown graduate?
That's what I understand from my law enforcement sources, yes.
Wow. Here he is, Claudio Neves Valente, a non-citizen from Portugal. 48 years old, a Brown University student.
So the multi-state manhunt ended here in Salem, New Hampshire last night. Authorities say that the shooter drove here after murdering 2 students at Brown University and injuring 9 students. And then, as you mentioned, after that, murdering an MIT professor with whom he shares a personal history. The Rhode Island Attorney General explained what investigators found when they arrived here last night. Listen to this.
He killed himself inside the storage unit, and the firearms were found at his, in the area of his thigh and in the area of his feet. We are 100% confident that this is our target, and that this case is closed from a perspective of pursuing people involved.
So authorities identify the shooter as Claudio Neves Valente from Portugal. He went to Brown University for a PhD physics program in the early 2000s, but never graduated. Before that, he went to school in Lisbon, and his classmate was MIT professor Nuno Laureiro. Authorities say Neves Valente murdered his former classmate at his home outside of Boston. Now, that's when authorities say he changed the license plate on his rental car and drove to this storage unit in New Hampshire. The break in the case came from a witness who led them to his rental car, which allowed investigators then to focus on financial records. His car was towed away from this storage facility just before midnight. Authorities say they found...
Ah, what the shit? No idea what happened there. Whatever. Got over anyway. Okay. Oh, there was a, when was this live? This morning? Oh, it's yesterday. Okay. FBI believes the MIT nuclear fusion scientist murdered in Boston and the Brown University shooter went to school together in Lisbon, Portugal.
He was a physics professor out of MIT and in the physics building, and he was studying physics. Have you tied all that up, and does that lead why target one person in Massachusetts and then a whole class here in Providence?
Yes, it is true that Mr. Valente was a physics student. Also, we know that the MIT, the victim there, was in that discipline as well. I will tell you that there's multiple phases to an investigation, and so now, in a sense that we know the subject is deceased. Now that investigation continues to find out all of those answers to your question, sir.
Did you go to school with the professor? Did you go to school with the professor who killed the Brown answer that?
It is believed that in Lisbon that those 2 individuals attended the same university in Portugal.
And for the crew, he was a physics professor out of MIT and in the physics building, and he was studying.
Okay, so yeah, I had almost forgotten about that. Zhap in D-Live chat brings up Israel, like sticking their nose into this case, like for no apparent reason whatsoever, completely unprompted. Right? Was that with this case, or was that with some other one? We see that the other day. And they claim he was like an Iranian. Yeah, here we go. Like, what? Israel investigating whether Iran was involved in murder of MIT professor Nuno Loureiro. Like, what the shit? Like, right at the time where it was looking increasingly like we were just going to get nothing from this, they swoop in and try to claim that it was Iran. Just what? Like what? Curious what the actual motive was, though, or whether we'll ever find out. Even like a claimed motive, you know, like not that I even necessarily believe the official narrative here. Not that I don't either. It just, you know, who knows. Yeah. Curious what they're gonna say. I mean, he's dead, so unless he left some kind of digital trail, communications of some kind with someone, I don't know, maybe social media posts indicating some kind of intent here. You know, that's the only way they'll be able to turn anything up. Unless he left a note. So why? I mean, the nuclear professor makes a little more sense considering they attended school together, but why the young lady? That one makes absolutely no sense. So far, anyway. Trump suspends diversity visa program. Yes. Also known as the green card lottery, which was used by the Brown University gunman. Yep. The diversity lottery. No more. Chuck it. Senate just confirmed 97 Trump nominees in a 53-43 vote. Good. Should be all of them, but progress, I guess. Assange files complaint against Nobel Foundation over Machado's when the yeah, I saw this a few days ago. Yeah, he's claiming this is like a CIA op or something. Like she shouldn't win because she's advocating for some kind of action in her home country, which is ruled by a wacko. Granted, but I suppose he may have something of a point. Like, it is the Nobel Peace Prize, and pushing for war. Are you really deserving of the Peace Prize? You know, I guess there's an argument to be made for it. But I think there's also a good argument from the other side, too. Because Venezuela sucks. Maduro sucks. All right. Thune on the Senate not moving a set of appropriations bills tonight. The regular order process gives senators from both parties the fullest chance to make their voices and the voices of their constituents heard. Which is why I'm disappointed that we will not be moving to our second package of appropriations bills tonight. Republicans were ready to go, but unfortunately my Democrat colleagues are not there yet. Hopefully they will get there. Sorry. Let me catch up on YouTube messages here. Very nice. Mr. Jones 8385 watching from Indonesia. No shit. Wow. Didn't know you were all the way out there. That's cool. Well, hello from the other side of the world. Catching up on news and irony in the States. Oh yeah. The whole world's a mess, isn't it? Migo Nagito 8759 asks, is Thumper still here? I'm surprised to find this and happy that PSB is still up and going. Yeah. Well, we never stopped. We have always been going the entire time. It's just YouTube banned us. So, you know, we were gone from YouTube for roughly 5 years. But we kept going on DLive, Rumble, when Rumble became a thing. Vaughn.com, decent little platform. I only do my show on YouTube because it's YouTube they have crazy AI, like nanny state shit that watches everything people do, and I don't have time to monitor every post's show for potential violations, and I just can't do it. I can only worry about myself at this point. So for the time being, I'm just live streaming my show. But we are still live streaming 24 hours a day on DLive and Rumble and Vaughn. So, and X as well. So give me a second, and I will drop you the link. Megan V2. In 1 second. Oh wow. Go Nagitu says I was also in DC for J6. Did you did you get hit with anything? Did they nail you with something, or did you not enter the building? That's cool. Yeah, I was there too. I was on the ground. Thankfully did not enter the building. And left before any of the really crazy stuff happened. But I did get a lot of rather dramatic footage, and still have all of that tucked away for who knows what. I have a number of things I'm thinking of using it on. Will probably become rather valuable, I would think. Unused, previously unused, high quality footage of J6. And I captured a number of interesting moments, I can say. One where a fight broke out between a couple people, or rather, I think a handful of people, like maybe 3 or 4 people, who were fighting over a bike rack that one of them had just ripped away from the police line. Several people were trying to wrestle it away from this person and wanted to go put it back. Far from the narrative, the story we were, that they tried to sell the country on mainstream media, that it was widespread violence and anti-police action. Yeah, not what I saw. That was not what I saw. I saw like a lone guy acting like a wacko, trying to pull the bike rack away, and a bunch of people trying to stop him. He eventually got away with the bike rack and ran off and chucked it over a another balcony down to a lower level, so the police couldn't get it and bring it back. Also captured a fascinating moment where it was right when the line broke, where bike rack breach had happened, like 10-20 minutes before when I'd filmed that bike rack being yanked. A little while after that point, I happened to be filming at that same spot, and I captured the moment when people started walking through that breach. It was not like that infamous incident with Ray Epps whispering in the guy's ear, right? And they charged the rack and punching cops and stuff. It was the complete opposite of that. It was peaceful. And in fact, the most fascinating thing I captured was the officers waving people back. Yeah. Like this. Come on. Yep. I believe I've showed it a couple times, actually. Probably late at night, so most of you've maybe not seen it, but yeah. I literally captured the officers waving the crowd back. Like, follow up, like, come on, it's okay. You can come forward. And the officers were just calmly walking back, and they backed themselves up to the next line back, which was at the stairs up to the building. No one was running. There was absolutely no altercations of any kind at this point. It was just people calmly walking up to the Capitol. In many cases, with their hands up. Literally, like, hands up, don't shoot kind of shit. Peace signs even, like, people were saying kind words to the officers, like, thank you for serving, for what you do. You know, our problem's not with you. It was the complete and total opposite of what we were sold, what the country was sold on national media. So I'm holding on to that because I imagine it'll probably have some value someday. Probably already does. I have not tried to sell it or anything yet. Hanging on. Yeah, I know. I'm glad too. Mr. Jones says, I'm glad neither of you were charged and imprisoned. I mean, it makes sense that we weren't, because like we didn't go as like Trump supporters or anything. We did not go in like, we're there literally to just document a camera and a microphone. Did not enter the building. Key, I think, probably. We left when things were starting to get hairy. One of the other things I captured was the use of less lethal deterrent devices, like the beanbag rounds or whatever, the little paintball rounds, like that, you know, the one that got shot through the cheek. And then like not flashbang, but like well, yeah, I guess they were flashbangs. Not just flashbangs, but also I think like the exploding ones that blast out a bunch of like little beanbags or whatever, you know. Pain inducing. As soon as they started breaking those out, that was like the last moment that I really captured. That was it. After they started doing that shit, we were like, okay, this is crazy. It's time to get the fuck out of here. So we left. Absolutely insane day. Oh, one of the other, I think maybe even the most fascinating thing I captured was the very first thing. When we came up out of the subway, we came up literally right across the street from the spot where the RNC pipe bomb was. And it was right at the moment when they had discovered it. And it was like right as we came up the escalator, first thing we saw, and I unfortunately did not record. I was not recording at this point, not prepared, because how would I ever expect this to be happening? But when we came up the long escalator up from the subway, the very top was officer just going, go, 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 get the fuck out of here, get the fuck out of here, move, 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 move. Like, telling everybody to fucking just run, like literally run, run, run. Like I started walking and he was like, don't walk, like you need to run. So we were like, we had no fucking clue what was going on, no idea. Of course, we later found out it was because of the pipe bomb. I've never seen so many police cars in my life. It was, or officers for that matter. Like the whole area was being swarmed with like every available vehicle, undercover, marked or not. Every officer in the area was all being piled into this area, and I captured a portion of that. And I don't know that anyone else has. I don't know that anyone captured any of that. Maybe the only one. It was wild, crazy. obvious why they had so little support everywhere else at such a crucial moment. Like, they had dumped so many resources towards the pipe bomb thing. They were short everywhere else, and they were already short as it was. That was the other thing that just stuck out completely on the day, was how like pathetic their preparations were. It made no sense, unless, of course, well, you know, they wanted what they got. Absolutely crazy. Oh, and sorry, I never finished answering your question about Thumper. You asked if Thumper was still here. Megan Ogitu asked if Thumper is still here. Thumper is not still here. He, I think he just kind of probably got tired. And, you know, it's been a long road. I get it. But he, I think still does maybe his own thing from time to time on Rumble. I'm not entirely sure if he's still going, but for a time there, at least he was still streaming. Pam, are you still working on the new Discord? Yes, thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, I finally have some downtime here over like the next week, or you know, this weekend. So I'm gonna get that up. We've had our private one going for a while without issue. I was kind of waiting to see how that went. So yeah, I'm gonna be getting that up. It'd be nice to get everyone back together on there. Would certainly enable some things that we've been missing all this time, like, you know, the ability to voice chat with all of you fine people and bring you on as callers. I've been able to do that with Discord. It was so easy. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. Megan Ogi2 says, I remember you and your voice, can't remember your name. Used to go by Pam or Pamphlet Anon, but my real name is James. My lady went by Radix. Real name's Christina. Nice to meet you again. Anything else I missed here? Sorry, I gotta hop over to D-Live too. See if I missed anything there. Okay. Oh wow. Megan Ogitu says my intent was to go into the building as I walked right by Ray Evans. And he's telling everyone to go in there and drag everyone out by their hair. Really amped me up. Ray Evans. I don't call that one off the top of my head. I mean, everyone knows Ray Epps, but is that who you mean? Ray Epps or Roy? Is it Roy or? I must forget. Ray, right? Ray Epps. Is Ray Evans a different person? Telling everyone to go in there and drag everyone out by their hair. Whoa. Really amped me up. I crawled up the bleachers. Was trapped up there all day to the point where now I have... Oh, wow. Pepper sprayed at least 3 times. Yikes. My name's Michelle. Hope you remember me. For a bit and have been on his show. If I heard your voice, I'm sure I remember. Last time I saw him was right after I had an aneurysm and I was still in the hospital. Aw, well, I'm glad to hear. Seems like you're doing a lot better. Good. I was still in the hospital. We all got in an argument with the nurse, and Thumper didn't like the way I handled it. Aw. Wow. Okay, so it was Ray. Wow, so you saw Epps. You saw Ray Epps, huh? On the day. Wow. telling everyone to go in. And drag everyone out by their hair? Did he really? He said that? You heard him say that? Telling people to go into the Capitol and drag, like, senators and representatives out by their hair? That's wild. Yikes. Wow. Oh, hold on. There was something else I missed. Your message go. I don't know. Well. Anyway, okay, let's keep going with the news here. Let me pop that back on and we'll keep cranking. Okay, hold on. Further info from J6. Megan Ogitu says, yes, he said that. Ray Epps said that. And I remember thinking it over and over again as I was crawling up those bleachers. I was already amped up because the whole day was so exciting. That really set my anger off. Yeah, he was not the only one there saying stuff like that to try to rile people up. Seemed to me, seems to a lot of people, I think, that there was a coordinated effort to have people planted throughout the day and the night before, getting people riled up, trying to prime them with the idea of entering the Capitol. Like, prime them with the idea that that was the goal. That was what we needed to do. I actually captured someone else who did the same thing. I have no idea, obviously, whether they were, paid to do it or, whether they were just a victim of it, and were just echoing what they had heard from people like Ray Epps. But it was a big fat dude with a big flag and some kind of goofy costume, goofy outfit. He was waving his flag around and saying Alex Jones type shit, like 1776 was here. It's, that kind of shit. We're going into that building. We're going into that Capitol. Yeah, there were. I guarantee you, there's something up with that. A lot of people were pushing that day. They wanted as many people as possible piling into that building so they could be charged. So there, yeah, yet another interesting moment that I captured. Mm-hmm. All right, where were we here? We did Assange. And I don't think we did this. U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts explained how investigators connected the Brown University shooting to the killing of the MIT professor. Okay, interesting.
Yes, the question was, how were we able to link him to the two crimes? So investigators identified the vehicle that he had rented in Boston and then drove to Rhode Island. And he was seen the vehicle was seen outside of Brown, and there was security footage that showed a person who resembled him. There was financial investigations that were going on in the background that linked him not only to that car, but also to the hotels that he had rented and the car that he had used to not only drive to Rhode Island, but then back to Boston. And then there was the security footage that captured him within a half mile of the professor's residence in Brookline. And there is a video footage of him entering an apartment building in the location of the professor's apartment. And then later that evening, he is seen about an hour later entering the storage unit wearing the same clothes that he had been seen wearing right after the murder.
Interesting. Okay.
Just for context here, that we have now learned that the shooter at Brown University, police say, was the very same shooter who killed a university professor at MIT. And
very strange. Like the MIT one kind of makes sense, but what the heck was the Brown thing about?
That's what this press conference is related to. Let's listen in.
6 days, including information that led us to today's search of the storage locker in New Hampshire. This is what we learned.
Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. A walkout ceremony? Are they going to clap her out for Chief of Police Pamela A. Smith, who didn't know what chain of command was? That moron. Remember her? Underway at MPD headquarters. You can watch it live here. Oh gosh.
I fought the good fight.
Oh, she fought the good fight and shit.
Not a temporary battle, not
by fudging crime statistics for black people and making it look like it was white people.
That had ups and downs, and whether he had based or bound, he said, at the end of it, I can look back and I can say, I fought. Now, I wasn't always popular. In fact, he was shipwrecked, he was stoned, bit by snakes. They were after him because of his assignment. But what he said was,
are you suggesting that people are after Miss Pamela Smith in the same way?
Was thrown at you as you led this agency.
Oh my gosh,
you fought the good fight.
How absurd.
The second thing was,
they're after her because she's a pathetic idiot that has no business running the police force of the nation's capital. It's ridiculous. Like, come on, man. Oh, in rare public comments, career DOJ officials offer chilling warnings about online satanic abuse network 764. Interesting. Let's see. Web of Danger Nightline, okay.
Welcome to this special edition of Nightline. I'm joined by ABC's Chief Justice
This is quite long. We'll skip that because we got plenty more to get to. So who was it making the comments here? Let's see if we can at least find that out. In striking and chilling terms, several career Justice Department officials on Thursday offered dire warnings about the online extremist network 764. Funny they don't mention the satanic nature of it. Whose young followers around the world use popular social media platforms to target, groom, and push vulnerable teens into harming themselves and others. It is as serious a threat as you can imagine. Justice Department colleague James Donnelly said they're trying to metastasize the evil. Ugh. These two feds both noted that 764 members are increasingly trying to push victims to take deadly actions, including suicide or even school shootings and other mass casualty attacks. Trying to blackmail people into doing it. How insane is that? Really actually kind of makes you wonder about how many times this has really happened. How many of these school shootings trace back to something like this? Creepy. They often systematically target underage females, especially those already struggling with depression, eating disorders, or other mental health issues. Plenty of cracks to work their way into. They often groom their victims by first establishing a trusting or romantic relationship. Oh yeah, they like love bomb. They're super sweet at first. No hint of the satanic wackadoo shit. And then they get a naked picture from them. They get them to... They're super sweet up until they get first thing they can blackmail them with. And then the mask comes off. And they keep pushing for more and more material. Build the pile of blackmail material. Get them to do more and more transgressive, messed up stuff. It's sick. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children says it received more than 2,000 reports of abuse tied to 764 or similar networks in the first 9 months of this year. Double the number of reports it received last year. And that's just a drop in the bucket. That's just what's reported. An example here, in a Tennessee case, summer last year, 19-year-old Caden Newberry of Johnson City and others associated with 764 allegedly forced a 13-year-old girl from Raritan, New Jersey, hundreds of miles away, to carve their initials into her leg and then send pictures and video of it to them. The young victim later learned that many of them shared the content with the so-called boss of a 764-related group on Discord so they could be admitted into the group. Disgusting. Yeah, Discord lets shit like this fly, but you know, they banned us 5 years ago repeatedly. Dick, right? All right. We lost our spot in the pile here. Let me get back down. That's where we were. Okay. Brown University student Alex Shee previously eviscerated the school's administrators for having a $46 million deficit despite surging costs for students. They pay $90,000 plus per year in tuition. That is obscene.
My name's Alex Shea, and I'm a rising junior at Brown University, one of the most exclusive institutions in the world. But I'm not here to glorify the Ivy League. I'm here to warn you that the promise of American higher education, of opportunity through meritocracy, is under attack. I'm a legacy student at Brown. I went to a prep school that feeds to the Ivy League, and my parents are doctors who can afford the $93,000 a year sticker price. In other words, I'm exactly who the Ivy League was built for. But what about the kids who weren't born on third base? Statistically speaking, for a smart kid from a poor family, an Ivy League degree can power their ascent to the upper income brackets better than anything else. That's the American dream. But today, that dream is now a luxury good. According to the New York Times, at Brown, the median student's family makes over $200,000 a year. Half the student body comes from the top 5% of earners. And research by Brown's own professor, John Friedman, shows that even equally qualified low-income students are vastly underrepresented. At this very moment, the American people are tightening their belts, and Brown is raising tuition to beyond $90,000 a year. And even while charging students the price of a luxury car, Brown is on track to run a $46 million deficit this year. Where's all the money going? I'll tell you where it's going. It's going into an empire of administrative bloat and bureaucracy. Brown employs 3,805 full-time non-instructional staff for just 7,229 undergrads. That's one administrator for every 2 students. This isn't education. This is bloat, paid for on the backs of students and families who are mortgaging their futures for a shot at a better life. Meanwhile, Grace Calhoun, Brown's athletic director, earns over $1 million. A household assistant on payroll tends to University President Christina Paxson. And when budget cuts are made, these expenses stay while the student experience deteriorates. My dorm floods when it rains, and the burger patties in our dining hall have been replaced by an unappetizing beef mushroom blend. The idea that Brown's administration can be streamlined isn't conjecture. We didn't used to have these many administrators. Across the nation, the number of university administrators has risen by 162% in recent decades. And it's no coincidence that correspondingly, the cost of education has risen 181% in inflation-adjusted dollars since the 90s. Across the pond, a world-class education at Oxford or Cambridge can cost about half as much as an Ivy League degree, in part due to a much lower administrative burden. The status quo has a real human cost. I recently learned of a brilliant young man from Pensacola, Florida, who got into Brown but was forced to walk away because the financial aid wasn't enough.
Oh, wow, that sucks.
Brown says it meets 100% of demonstrated need, but Brown gets to decide what that need is. Middle-class students in particular suffer from these—
Let me guess, he was white.
—policies, earning too much to qualify for generous scholarships, but not enough to go to Brown without straddling themselves with significant amounts of debt. And let's not forget that Brown is one of several Ivy League schools that settled a federal antitrust lawsuit last year for allegedly colluding to suppress financial aid offers.
Wow.
I'm a reporter for the Brown Spectator, and to document this problem, I created a website called Bloat at Brown that used AI to assess whether each administrative role was actually necessary. I sent each administrative employee a Doge-style email to ask them, what do you do all day? Instead of answering, Brown's response was retaliation. My social security number was leaked. Our website was hacked.
What the heck?
And Associate Dean Kirsten Wolf launched a disciplinary investigation into a litany of baseless charges, such as emotional harm.
Oh my
Well, they
gosh.
couldn't get me. They charged every single board member of the Brown Spectator, an unprecedented attack on student journalism.
Oh
but
my
we refused to back down, and we won our hearings. There was no misconduct, only exposure, and that's what Brown feared the most. This committee has a responsibility, not just to investigate Ivy League antitrust violations, but to reclaim the American dream from those who have twisted it into a racket. I call on you today to subpoena Brown's president, Christina Paxson, and ask her why Brown costs $93,000 a year. The American dream isn't just for the legacies, the coastal elites, or the children of privilege. It belongs to the kid in rural Kansas with a 4.0 GPA, the first-gen student working a night shift, and the families who did everything right and still got priced out. They deserve a seat at the table. They deserve a shot at making it big. Their American dreams matter too. I thank you for the opportunity to testify, and I welcome your questions.
Wow. What a mess. Disgusting. Milwaukee judge. Oh yeah, the hag. Found guilty, facing like up to 5 years. This idiot. Dugan? Yeah, Judge Hannah Dugan. Found guilty. Oh, I bet they are shocked and horrified. All the mainstream morons. But they're crying about it. Gosh. Okay, Margot Martin posting Melania Trump last night.
I just want to thank you for your service, for your kindness and professionalism. I see some familiar faces, and I know
Thanking members of the White House Military Office.
some of you are working behind.
So this is what all the Christmas receptions are. Interesting. That's really nice. So it looks like they're basically holding a whole bunch of Christmas receptions, like in some cases like multiple per day, each for like different subsets of people. One of the previous ones was like the White House employees and staff. This one is obviously the White House Military Office. That's really cool that they're throwing parties for all of them separately. That way it's like a smaller thing, and you know, President and First Lady showing up at all of them and thanking them personally. It's nice. Here's Trump.
And it is 1,750. And I said, well, let's make it a little bit of a change. A little bit of change, right? It was a great change, and I think it went over really well. And I know we got so many calls thanking because that was unexpected. I found out about it, I asked about it, and we got sort of the approvals, went through about 20 minutes before I made the speech last night. So congratulations, 1776. Congratulations. It's an honor to be with you. Have a fantastic Christmas. Have a great New Year. Have a good Hanukkah. Good everything. We've got a country that's doing really well, and you are a big factor. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, that $1,776 payment for military is just awesome. Also, really nice. Really cool to see. We'll give a lot of these families a nice Christmas gifts for kids that don't get to see their parents all that often. In some cases, it's just great. Megan Ogitu in YouTube says you were banned from YouTube because you were a very effective channel. I miss it. Well, thankfully, you found us again, so that's good. Yeah, we were and we are. I mean, especially in those early days, though, when there weren't that many other options out there. We were pioneers, you know. Oh, well, since you found us again, since we're on the topic, and I think you mentioned you used to come on with Thumper. We need hosts. We always need hosts. We always need new voices. So if you would like to maybe jump behind the wheel, you should think about it. You should, well, more than think about it, you should do it. You can contact 80s Erin. I'll drop her email Just shoot her an email, and she makes it super easy. She shows you the ropes, how to use all the software you need to use. Zoom, super easy. Shows you how to share your screen, share your sound, the basics of hosting a show and what to do, what not to do. She's awesome. So just shoot her an email. Let her know you'd like to become a host. eds.aaron. I think that's it. Pretty sure that's it. eds.aaron@protonmail.com. I think we show it on the DLive screen too. Let me double check there and make sure. Interested in hosting eds.aaron@protonmail.com. That's it. Yeah, so Megan Ogitu or anyone else out there that might happen to be interested in jumping behind the wheel, getting your feet wet, you can always find a place for it. You can always find a time slot to put you in. I can give up one of mine if it comes down to it. There's always late night slots for sure if you happen to be on the other side of the world. I know we had someone in there mention, who was it? Forget who it was, Mr. Jones or someone. Yeah, so especially people on the other side of the world, we're awake when the rest of us are in the twilight hours. You are ideal. We need you. Send 80s Aaron an email and jump on in. It'll be much easier, especially after we get the Discord back up and built out. Be easier to contact people and get your feet wet as a guest. It'll be easy to bring people on like we used to as a Discord caller, which is a great way to kind of soft host, right? It's like low obligation. You don't have to. There's not much at stake. You can just kind of come on for a few minutes if you want. Yeah, it'd be nice to get that going again. All right, let's see what's next. Senate, we saw Tammy Bruce has been confirmed by the Senate as Deputy Ambassador to the UN as part of a package of more than 90 Trump nominees. White House says that the board at the Kennedy Center, which President Trump chairs, voted to rename the building the Trump Kennedy Center. Yeah. I guess I was there on the last night that it was the Kennedy Center.
Some news about the Kennedy Center. What's the latest there?
The White House announced today, Kira, that the board of the Kennedy Center, of which the president is the chairman, had voted unanimously to approve a name change, that it will now be the Trump Kennedy Center. The president spoke about this in the Oval Office a few moments ago, said he was surprised by this, even though he has certainly hinted at this himself and suggested it would be a good thing, and said he was honored to have this happen. Now, a couple things here. One, the White House saying that this was unanimous by the board. We've already heard from a Democratic member of Congress who's on that board who said that they were muted during a meeting and were not able to weigh in on this, so it's not clear exactly what that vote looked like. The other big thing here, Kira, is it's not clear that this can actually happen legally. A law professor told me that the board cannot actually do this, can't change the name of the Kennedy Center. Maybe they could change parts of the Kennedy Center, rename something inside it, one of the theaters, for example, but not the actual Center for the Arts. So stay tuned on that. We'll see how this plays out, but the president has appointed himself the chairman after he terminated the chair. Members of the board put in his friends and cronies into that role. And Kira, there has been reporting on this from the Washington Post that since all that happened, ticket sales have been struggling for the Kennedy Center in response.
All right. Senator Mike Lee is saying if the Senate GOP gets tough, oh, that'll be the day, and enforces existing Senate rules, the MAGA agenda can be passed with a simple majority of 51 votes. If we enforce the cloture rule, we can end the cloture abuse, which currently sits at 60 votes for cloture. Require them to debate. The minute they stop debating, you can call the vote, a simple majority. We need to get back into that business. Oh, yeah, it'd be nice.
The point is this. If we enforce the cloture rule, we could end cloture abuse, and we could end this perpetual tail-chasing model in which even when Republicans control the Senate and the House and the White House, as we currently do, we just take all sorts of things off the table. We can't accomplish this. We can't accomplish that. Why? Well, because we don't have 60 votes. There are other ways that break through this. You enforce the rules by requiring them to debate, and then the minute they stop debating, either because you've physically exhausted them or because they have exhausted their right to continue speaking. We have a number of rules about that, including you can only speak twice on the same legislative day on the same discrete legislative matter if they have exhausted either themselves physically or their right to speak. That moment you can call the vote, and that vote is cast as simple majority threshold, and you can get a lot passed. We haven't been doing that. We need to get back into that business.
Yep.
The point.
Oh, wow. Fraud tourists. Fraud tourists traveled to Minnesota after a friend told them state programs were a good opportunity to make money. Oh, yeah. They openly share and spread all this. I guarantee you they'd even do it on TikTok and shit. Ridiculous. Somali community. They are culturally sick people that have no business being here. And it shouldn't be wrong to say that because it's a fact. It's the truth. They are a sick people and they need to go back.
More and more whistleblowers are coming forward with reports and information about rampant fraud in Minnesota. One of them has been trying to sound the alarm for years, only to be ignored while millions of taxpayer dollars disappeared. More about her story and the real victims next.
Oh, sorry, frozen. Freaking thing. There we go.
We are joined today by a would-be whistleblower, someone who tried to call attention to fraud in Minnesota but was ignored. She still works in county government and wanted to speak out. But unfortunately, we do live in a world where cancel culture, doxing, violent threats have all become too common. So she asked us to help protect her identity. We're going to call her Susan. Thank you, Susan, for reaching out and for speaking with us today. Yeah, of course.
Oh my gosh, they didn't.
I want to first focus on Minnesota's Housing Stabilization Service.
Foolish.
It's the HSS program funded by Medicaid and administered by the Minnesota Department of Human Services. As you know, the program was officially shut down on October 31st after it was said to be just riddled with fraud. You saw all of this up close. You tried reporting it for years. What have you seen for yourself?
So what I witnessed firsthand, there were a lot of red flags. So I would go out to my clients' homes to be there and help them kind of navigate and go through this. And we would have a meet and greet where the service agreement / contract would be signed, and the so-called provider for the service would say, we will see you weekly. We will be emailing weekly. We will be looking for housing together weekly. As soon as we'd sign the contracts and they would leave, we would never hear from them again. Wow. I would send multiple emails, voicemails, leave voicemails for supervisors. Gone, nothing. And then I would say 2 months later, we would find out that that person is gone or this place is gone. They're no longer there. But meanwhile, the whole few months there were 0 services provided. And then we'd start the process all over again with a new person coming out. You know, usually it's always someone in their 20s, probably a very entry-level position, when we have to sign new contracts / service agreements, and they would give us the same identical speech. You know, we'll see you weekly. We'll be looking for housing weekly. You'll get weekly reports, weekly emails, lots of contact. No contact, ghosted. And this cycle went on for a period of 2 to 3 years, and there were absolutely zero services provided whatsoever. And I made multiple calls to try to get answers, only to be met with no answers, no returned phone calls, no returned emails, nothing. Or I was told that person is gone.
So while taxpayers are paying the price, it seems the clients are the real victims in all of this. And I know one of the reasons you wanted to speak out. Tell us about them.
So these clients are some of the most vulnerable people that we have.
Of course.
You know, they are the homeless. They are the mentally ill. They are the
elderly,
delayed. They are physically handicapped.
Yep.
They can't advocate for themselves. They don't even understand most of the paperwork. They don't know what's going on. They don't know who's coming, who's going. So it's crushing.
Like I said, culturally sick people. They have no moral compass whatsoever. They're sick.
For them, and some of these clients do have to sometimes pay for this. Yes, sometimes the county or Medicaid will pick it up, but not always, and they're not getting the services.
So hindsight makes a lot of things make sense, Susan. However, back then you were reporting this to your supervisors. Do you know, did anyone follow up? Did they report to government officials, to law enforcement, or anyone who could have done something about this?
I know we were all reporting at all levels, all of us, and we had several meetings discussing how we felt something very fraudulent was going on. And we all were expressing it. Clinical directors, supervisors, county workers, mental health workers, we were all reporting. But the problem is that when you have a fraudulent agency, right? And they have burner phones and they're here, they're there, they're everywhere, and you don't even know where to drive to find the person, and they don't answer. Where do you go, and who do you yell at?
You've had conversations with some of these clients. What did they tell you?
So, for example, I work with this one particular client, and I go into this particular client's home weekly. And every time I talk to her, just get updates, you know, how are your services going? Is your homemaker coming out? Is your IHS worker coming out? Are all these people doing what they're supposed to? And what I hear all the time, and this is across the board, I don't even remember who is supposed to come out on what days. I'm so confused. I don't even understand any of this. I never understand who's coming or who's not coming, and it changes. And sometimes they don't come, and I don't know what's going on half the time. These are her words, and it's heartbreaking because she always starts to cry, and she has, cognitive declines and disabilities, so it's super confusing for her. So is that even fair for these people? They're at a huge disadvantage.
So with what you've seen and been through, do you think elected officials are really doing all they can to fight fraud? We know it's not just this HSS program, also a moratorium announced on another social program. After a 238% spike in applications, who do you think is to blame for all of this, and what should be done?
I don't know who is to blame per se. Do I think they're doing everything they can to fix it? No, I don't.
Do you think in a way this has been allowed to happen since it has gone on for so long?
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's not allowed to happen. Yes, of course. Absolutely.
Madam Chair, I'm Nathaniel M. Olson, a disability advocate for the state of Minnesota. I've heard the commissioners and the Department of Human Services, but the one thing that I'm freaking worried about is this freaking fraud that is happening over our state, where there's 600,000 disability people in the state of Minnesota that could suffer. And sadly, it's quite interesting that we have Governor Walz speaking in front of the state and saying that this fraud is nothing beside, but my people are done suffering. We're done with this fraud. We're done with the Department of Human Services coming up here and saying, oh, we're going to figure this out. This has been too long. The administration knew that this fraud was coming. I've talked to families, parents, everyone have been reaching out to me and saying, oh, this is what is happening to my child. This is what is happening to my child. We're afraid. There is a time to hold our governor accountable, and I'm not seeing it. This fraud is outrageous. And it makes me sad to see what's happening to our state. This was a great state.
It is sad.
Was. But all of this fraud that is coming around here, all these excuses that is happening, needs to stop.
If you had just one word to describe the fraud that's been going on, what would it be?
Complete, total bullshit.
Sounds like that about sums it up, but obviously very frustrating.
It's not even like that complicated or like complex a scheme. It's just like blatant. Out in the like, there's absolutely no way that various apparatuses of the state were not aware that this was happening, up to and including the governor's office and the governor himself. It's ridiculous.
Someone in your position when your job is to get these people the help that they need.
Very frustrating. It makes me actually really sad. And if people could just see these clients and talk to them and hear their stories, you'd be heartbroken.
That's why we appreciate you bringing them forward. Susan, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah.
Mango Nagitu 8759 says, I would love to join the team again, but do not have the setup required for operation or for the operation. However, I do have something I would like to talk about on air. Maybe you could contact me. Well, it depends. Like, what's your setup? Like, what are you missing? Because if it's relatively simple, like you just like, I don't know, missing a mic or something. Oh wow, I let go of all my material possessions once again, hit the road in an RV. That's pretty neat. That's cool. Very cool. Yeah, after we get that Discord up and running, it'll be super easy for you to call in and chat like that. But I mean, if you just have like a laptop, that's enough. You really don't need that much. Like, I can do a full show on my little MacBook here. This guy. I mean, I obviously have multiple screens I'm hooked up to now. That makes it a lot easier. But I've done it on just the laptop without issue, and no mic, just the built-in mics on the MacBook. Actually, quite good. So you really don't need much. If you've got a laptop, that's all you need. Oh yeah, if you're restricted to iPhone, you're kind of out of luck, I guess. But once we have the Discord up, that won't be an issue. Obviously, you can't host a show, but you can participate as a caller. So, yeah, you know what? I'm going to work on that. Try and bust that out today if I can. All right, let's see. I wouldn't want to be a Somalian right now.
Wouldn't want to be Somalian right now. That's right. It's, yeah.
Oh,
all the Democrats in the states are like, oh, it's just horrific watching my
this one just does not want to work.
Somali neighbors being ripped from their homes. I'm like, if you have Somali neighbors, you live in a bad area.
Nope. All right, we'll just watch it this way.
But I feel bad for the Somalians because they're being called garbage and they're trying to defend themselves online and they don't have anything to work with. They have like one picture and one video of Mogadishu. The picture is like from a rooftop of a building, and it's like 2 blocks from the beach, and you can see the beach, and they post it, and they go, "Look at Somalia, it's beautiful." And it's like, yeah, how about you turn that camera around? I want to see a guy shitting in the street with an AK-47 strapped to his back.
Oh boy. Fannie Willis mocked the question.
All right, y'all, check this out. So remember Fani and the whole explosion about
Fani.
Dumbass question and ignorant question and all
Oh
that?
my gosh.
Well, check this
Freaking
out.
crap.
So Fani says she didn't begin investigating President Trump until after Raffensperger goes on Good Morning America.
Ridiculous.
Well, that's January 4th, 2021. She said this yesterday under sworn testimony. Well, here's sworn testimony from Nathan Wade from last October to Congress. He says he was part of a search committee on January 1st, 3 days before Raffensperger was on Good Morning America, that was tasked with finding lead counsel for the election interference investigation. He then goes on to say that he began having conversations with DA Willis about this search committee prior to her getting sworn in. I'm going to post the receipts below so she doesn't accuse me of doctoring evidence again, but you check this out. These two things can't both be true. All right, y'all, check this out. So remember,
Trump was right again. A migrant Amazon driver has been caught on camera stealing a woman's cat, grabbing it by the neck, and taking off. He refuses to disclose the cat's location, probably because he ate it.
Ring camera doorbell shows this Amazon Flex driver walking up to the porch, dropping off the package, and if we lose that bug in SuperVin, if you don't mind, thank you, right underneath of that, that is where the cat is, right near the front porch. You see the Amazon driver trying to grab him. The owner says you can see the arm go back and forth. She believes that's because the cat was trying to bite the man as he was trying to pick her up. Eventually, he does grab her by the back of the neck, walks her back to his car, and takes off. Sheriff's Department says they have interviewed the man who said he was sorry, but won't tell them where the cat is. At this point, they are still looking for the cat, and as I mentioned,
he killed it and possibly ate it.
Are being considered by the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office. I want to show you a statement from Amazon trying to distance
Have they checked his freezer?
Themselves from the driver, making it very clear to us that he is a Flex driver, which is a third-party company, saying, quote, "This was a horrible act, and we've apologized to Ms. Huff Medina. The Amazon Flex delivery partner in question is no longer eligible to deliver to our customers. We are in touch with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office to share relevant information with them, and will continue to support their investigation." Now,
disgusting. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. This lady in Texas had a boar's head mounted on a stick at a protest against the Islamification of Texas. Okay.
Man, you have a pig on top of a
pig on a stick.
stick right now. What made you bring a pig out here today?
I just want to stay safe, and I know they won't get close to hogs.
And what do you think about the Islamification of Texas here?
It's really sad, and if I can fight, if I have to pick up a gun or whatever to fight to keep Texas free from Muslims and their ideology, I will go and fight for this, for my state.
And what fears you most about Muslims?
The fact that we lose our women will lose their freedoms, and our children will not be able to do what we like to do, and the men marrying little girls.
And I was just talking to some Muslims over there. They seem like pretty nice people. Have you ever talked to Muslims?
Well, even the devil was very nice. So even the devil can be nice. Look at the people that came down from Afghanistan and that were not vetted, and we thought they were our friends, and look what they did. They shot those two people, those two National Guards. And I think that if we don't do something about it, it's going to get worse. And it's like a cancer. We need to nip the cancer right at its butt, and this is the butt right now.
Man, you...
Yep. Oh, God. Oh, it's Gabby frickin' Giffords endorsing Tim. My friend Tim Walz has been a champion for all Americans since our days together in Congress, and as governor, he's proven that leadership and courage from elected leaders saves lives. He's taken on the gun lobby and won. Passed common sense reforms that Minnesotans demanded. Yeah, a lot of good that shit did. And understands that protecting our communities and respecting the Second Amendment go hand in hand. Oh, please. How does this make Minnesota taxpayers feel? Oh, look, it's a Somali moron. Let's see.
Come get the Somalian freeloader. Come get him.
They're all like this.
Are you really going to waste your resources,
the disgusting attitude,
and time to come find a freeloader? Really?
Yes. Yes, we will. We're sick of you.
Am I that?
The sight of your face disgusts me.
Like, important to you? I'm just a freeloader, not a criminal.
I hate these people. I hate them.
So,
they are sick and have no business here.
you're gonna waste your time, resources, and it's winter. Maybe wait till the weather gets better. Then we can fight. We can fight, motherfucker demon. Let's go.
Unbelievable. Half of Minnesota's $18 billion Medicaid claims are suspected to be fraudulent. Half of them. Half of the entirety of all of Medicaid in Minnesota.
Prosecutor says half of
that doesn't just happen like without anyone noticing, okay? Especially like, you know, the governor and all the other people that are supposed to be in charge of this shit.
Medicaid's $18 billion claims paid to Minnesota programs could be fraudulent. Prosecutors charged 5 people in a Minnesota housing fraud scheme today. First Assistant U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson claims 2 defendants pocketed $750,000 to travel to international destinations instead of helping Medicaid recipients find stable housing. Prosecutor says half of Medicaid.
Wow. Woman pleads guilty to abusing autism services and feeding our future frauds. Sick. Agreed to pay nearly $16 million in restitution for the Medicaid fraud schemes. Is that all? Faces a potential prison sentence of between 5 to 8 years. Could be a firing squad.
Let's just continue this conversation here, because also today the U.S. Attorney's Office netted a guilty plea from a defendant who admitted to her role in a combination of fraud schemes.
So let's bring in Fox 9's Paul Bloom now with a closer look at her particular case. And Paul, this woman told a federal judge how she defrauded multiple programs out of millions of taxpayer dollars. So explain this case.
Yeah. Sure thing, Kelsey. Her name, Asha Hassan. You may remember the name. She was the very first defendant charged with defrauding Minnesota's publicly funded autism care program. We were at the U.S. District Courthouse this morning as she entered her guilty plea on a single count of wire fraud. She and her attorneys here would not comment on the case, but I do want to break it down for you. Hassan owned a business here known as Smart Therapy LLC. She pleaded guilty in 2 schemes, not just the Autism Care or EIDBI program, but also she admitted her role in the massive Feeding Our Future child nutrition fraud. In total, taking in some $14 million in Medicaid funds, another $450,000 supposedly earmarked to feed hungry children.
Wow.
Prosecutors point out.
Spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to Kenya.
She sent hundreds of thousands of dollars out of this country to Kenya to purchase real estate in her own name.
Wow.
So, Paul,
like I said, all of them. They're like across the board. I'm sure you can find examples here and there where there are nice ones that do not engage in this, of course, but by and large, broadly speaking, they are culturally fucked and they need to go. On December 18th, at the direction of Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, Joint Task Force Southern Spear conducted lethal kinetic strikes on 2 vessels, more drug boats. Kablooey. Boom. Bye-bye. Venezuela's $8 billion black market for oil shuts down after Trump's blockade.
It's General Jack Keane. General, so they're essentially putting a blockade. How effective will that be to squeezing out Maduro?
Well, certainly, you mentioned the money. That's what this is really all about. He's got 2 major sources of money and revenue. Certainly, the main one is oil. And those tankers are the means to him achieving that. And the other is the drug trafficking in it, because he and the cartels are one. So yeah, this is an escalation for sure. We've seen obviously taking out the trafficking of drugs at sea, and that's been going on for weeks now. A demonstration of military force in the area, ships, airplanes, helicopters, etc., and seizing a tanker, and now a quarantine blockade. And I believe there's more escalation in the offing here, to be sure, because we're walking up that escalation ladder. And really what the president and his team are attempting to do is finally to get Maduro to take the exile deal that's on the table, to resign and move out. It will get you to a country reasonably of your choosing. But that escalation ladder, I think, is going to continue to rise as a result of the determination to remove Maduro from this regime, hopefully voluntarily, but force if necessary.
But by the way, the Venezuelan Navy on Tuesday and Wednesday escorted 3 tankers carrying their oil and other oil-based products.
I don't know that he's going to give it up, man.
So they look like they're going for a confrontation. Obviously, we have the assets to eliminate their Navy. Meanwhile, some other big news for people concerned about Taiwan, like the West and us. We're going to put $11 billion into Taiwan's military, including some significant firepower. Is it enough?
I mean, I guess as far as that stuff goes, it really isn't all that much money.
Well, it's a huge start here. I mean, this president of Taiwan has really taken the bull by the horn, so to speak, here, because he sees the China threat, and it's increasing every year, and so does Japan. Japan has doubled their defense budget as a result.
Yeah, that is true.
Of this threat.
Big deal.
He has put $40 billion in a supplemental bill that his Congress, his legislature approved.
Students at a university in Bangladesh had to time their jumps carefully off an escalator after it suddenly began running at high speed. What? Yo, what the hell? Screw that, man. Yikes. American works in a container shipyard on the West Coast. He shows this entire area has been fully automated, no humans allowed. Every vehicle you see moving is automation. All jobs have been replaced with technology. Even the cranes are automated. He explains how each step works. Interesting.
Good morning, everybody. Check out how this yard works. So, this side of the fence line back here is all automated.
Wow.
There's no humans allowed.
That's creepy, kind of, but kind of cool.
See all the robots,
but also kind of shitty.
Moving around.
All at once.
They're called AGVs.
Very conflicted.
Automated guided vehicles. So they're all bringing containers to the ship and taking them from the ship. Then they take them over here to the yard.
Wow. That's wild.
And then these cranes in the yard are all automated. They put them in the yard, and then the truckers on the back side over there will take them out to wherever they go, or they'll take them to the rails, which is in the back there also. There's a rail yard where we load the trains up. And you can see it's pretty crazy, man. This is the only terminal on the West Coast that actually is fully automated like this. There's
okay, interesting.
Only one. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah, I imagine it would have to be. It's a massive investment. It would have to be like built from the ground up, basically. But still, that is wild look at the future.
Is designed is a lot better on my body. You can see this. Here goes the automated crane. I don't know what's going. It's moving that container somewhere. If it's put in the yard, or if it's coming out to put it on an AGV. But there's like 80 of those cranes out there, and the yard goes way back that way over there. So yeah, pretty wild, man. Crazy stuff.
Wow.
Anyway, you guys have a blessed day, people. Be nice to each other, and happy holidays, man. Love you guys.
Interesting.
It just does stupid work. You know, that's all stupid work that they have to pay somebody. They should bring down prices. You would think.
You would think. I mean, maybe eventually. I'm sure the initial investment is massive, but
yeah, but they're doing massive quantities. I don't like the idea of all this automated. Somebody get in there and if they're smuggling You know, there has to be some kind of
Right?
inspection or
I
something.
imagine it probably opens a lot of doors for dirty shit like that. Yeah. Creepy.
Yeah. But that would be cool. I've been to those yards before. Not an automated yard,
Yeah.
but, you know, they're just, you know, a monotonous job. Go from the, you know, ship to the, set it down on a truck and let them go. You know, it's over and over and over again.
Yep.
You know, so.
I mean, on one hand, I don't really see an issue with automating stuff like that. Like they're never going to be able to automate, at least not for the foreseeable future. Like truck drivers, like after all this freight leaves this spot and actually has to be trucked out into the country, they're going to have a pretty hard time replacing like long haul truck drivers because the kind of issues that they have to navigate. I don't think they're going to be able to automate that. Like there's so many things that they have to deal with on the road.
Harassing truck drivers nowadays.
Yeah.
With all this, I'm sure all the guys are getting harassed. You know, they probably got weigh stations open.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Let me see if we got any last minute pieces here. Interesting. Up to the moment. We did 764. China says there will be serious consequences if the U.S. sends Taiwan any weapons, as we just heard. We're apparently sending 11 billion. Oh, more on the Brown thing. Let's see.
Open by a homeless man who goes by John.
Wow. So the case was solved thanks to a homeless guy.
Investigators say that he's a former Brown University student who grew suspicious of the gunman when he locked eyes with him in the bathroom just 2 hours before the shooting inside the Barris and Holly building. The gunman, his name is Claudio Neves Valente. Now, John, pictured here, is the man police were looking to speak to because of how close he got to that gunman. John said he followed Neves Valente out of the building before the shooting and played a game of cat and mouse in the neighborhood. Surveillance video shows
Oh,
Neves
so that's what that was all about, with him like acting weird in the neighborhood on the cameras.
Valente running away from John. At
Wow.
one point, he stood just feet away from the gunman and questioned why he was circling the block. The gunman repeatedly responded, quote, "Why are you harassing me?" When police released images of the suspect after the shooting, John wrote an anonymous Reddit post describing seeing the gunman unlock a parked gray Nissan sedan with Florida plates he thought could be a rental. 3 days.
Well, I hope he gets the reward.
Days after the shooting, John anonymously called the police tip line and flagged his own Reddit post.
He better.
On Wednesday, John,
If he doesn't, I guarantee you people will make up for it with like a GoFundMe or something.
walked up to police, revealed that he was the man police were looking for, that he was close to the gunman, and that the Reddit post came from him. Police used license plate readers to track the gray Nissan to an Alamo car rental center in Boston. They pulled surveillance images showing Nieves Valente, and they traced him to a storage facility in Salem, New Hampshire, where he was found dead last night. Now, Nieves Valente was spotted in the Brown University building on November 28th. That's 2 weeks before the shooting. Last night, I asked investigators how it could be that a homeless man and not police noticed a suspicious person in that time.
Apparently the homeless guy is quite smart. He's like a near genius or something.
Well, the Providence Police is obviously not going to patrol Barris and Holly. That's a question for, frankly, for Brown and their police department.
Why would a civilian observe that to be suspicious? It's a great point. And I like the fact that you're mentioning that and bringing that up. That's what we should all be doing, right? And it's just personality. Some people are more interested in finding out what others are doing.
Plus, that's actually an interesting point. Ed Juthomp in D-Live says the homeless know the hood. Yeah, they know the streets. Like they will see something off, like it'll stick out like a sore thumb to them.
This particular case, this person decided that he wanted to, and I'm glad he did.
Interesting. All right. Oh, daring rescue. Launches Coast Guard air crew plucked a boater to safety after a fishing vessel burst into flames off the coast of Florida. The heck? How'd that happen? Oh! Jeez, man. Boater was able to deploy a life raft and abandon their burning vessel. Yikes. Rob Reiner's son Nick issued an eerie warning years before his parents' brutal murders.
You don't seem very fiery to me. You seem like you might just...
I get crazy.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
You don't want to set me off.
That clip was Nick Reiner speaking with his father, the acclaimed director Rob Reiner, who recently was found stabbed to death in his own home, allegedly at the hands of his own son. This is from a 2016 interview.
I get crazy. You don't want to set me off. All right. Oh yeah, we get the Epstein stuff today, apparently, right? Robert Garcia.
All of that.
You do? Cool. Good.
Yeah. I do.
Oversight Democrats cherry-picked Epstein estate records in search for a single word Trump, all while claiming to be seeking justice. Yeah, of course. Well, here's to see what we're going to get out of that today. Let me pass it over to Serpo here.
Audio, everybody.
It's all you, man.
Great show.
Yeah, you
Great
have a good
show,
one.
Bam. You have a good afternoon.
I will do.
We'll be around.
Adios, y'all. All right, guys. All right, YouTube. I suppose that's it for me. Well, hold on. Let's see. Let me see if I missed any other messages. Right on cue, 8826 says, James, have they said how the guy died? The suspect they found in a storage unit. Yeah, they've said it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. I don't know if there's any detail on, like, how exactly he did it. Like, if it was a, you know, like, how he shot himself. Or with what kind of weapon. I don't know if that's out there yet. But yeah, that's what they're saying. Self-inflicted. I will not be back this evening. That's going to be Mr. Constitution. Mr. Doug. He'll be on at 5 to 7 tonight. But I will be back tomorrow afternoon, 1 to 3 p.m. I don't know, I may even need to cover for someone, because I know we have a number of people who are out temporarily, so I don't know, maybe I'll see you sometime between now and then. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon, okay? Have a great rest of your Friday. Enjoy whatever it is Trump's announcing today, and I will see you guys, and I see you. Bye-bye.